Welcome back to Messages from Earth. This is a podcast that was created during the quarantine in 2020. These are 27 individual phone calls that were made asking the same question to everyone and put together in a way that made this feel as if we're all in one space, we're all connected during this time of self-isolation. Some of the phone calls do sound like someone is calling from space, so just listen in closely. Today's question is, what is the ideal society?
The one where everyone can do what he wants to do. Also where everyone is kind to another. I don't really have an answer for that because I am still trying to figure out what is actually a good society or not a good society. The society we are living in, it has its flaws, but is kind of working. Yeah, I don't know if I'm really clear with my answer for that one, but I don't know how to really express it another way.
Plato described a perfect or utopian society as one where everyone lived harmoniously without fear of violence or material possession. And I reflected on that a lot, and then I came to the conclusion that to me, an ideal society would be one where there's equality for all, where there's justice and fairness, where everyone has a sense of fulfillment with what they do, because I think that's really important on how we view ourselves. If we don't feel like we're doing something worthwhile, it affects how we see ourselves. And the ideal society would be one where everyone is able to live in peace and has what they need to survive, and where we're all living harmoniously. So different faiths, different cultures, people from different backgrounds, all of that would work together to be what I would call an ideal society.
I think an ideal society would be geared more towards self-governance. I think people have tried it before. We need to get rid of capitalism. That's the one thing that is not sustainable. It is exploitative. It's a horrible system. It's got to the point where it's even hard to imagine a world that's not capitalistic. What does a non-capitalist world look like? Plato and Aristotle, they said that an ideal society would be ruled by the artists and philosophers. What actually happens if you put the philosophers and the artists up top? What happens if art becomes the main thing and not economics?
My ideal society is one where everybody can accept each other despite the differences. Utopian societies portray like this cookie cutter mentality and everything, but I think true utopian society understand and accept the differences between us and view them as strengths rather than weaknesses.
I don't even want to be in society, man. I just want to be in my own bubble, man. You feel me? I just want everyone to get along and just when I was in Berlin, everything is just so at ease and just accepted in a sense. No judgment, you feel me? I remember I was on the U-Bahn, which is that subway thing they have there, and it was just like a dude with no shoes on, man. No one batted an eyelid, and I was like, wow, that's how life should be, man. We should all just be coexisting together, man. You feel me? That's all it is, man. And just eat local food, man, and eat your vegetables, man. Health is wealth, man.
I want to say the ideal society is one where I can still eat meat but not hurt the animals. I think the environment's a really huge issue, especially in our generation, because we're going to have to pick up the pieces when everyone else goes. But I think the ideal society is the one that we're in now because it's open to challenges and there's always room for improvement, and it tests each and every one of us, our character and how resilient we become, or how we kind of use our voices to try and make a change in the world, no matter how big or small. I think this is the society you kind of want to live in now, because if you had a perfect world, what difference would you really make?
A fair society, really? That's not the case. It would really take a lot to change how things have been built to be. If everyone could be on the same level, if there wasn't injustice and
I don't know, if society was a bit more fair.
A society with like limited powers for politicians to remove corruption. Just a lot of free thinkers, but my ideal society.
Willingness to show vulnerability, especially in infrastructure, say the government. The major thing that we keep missing is that everyone wants to feel significant and not realizing that everyone is already significant. I guess a society that's willing to heal together is probably the ideal one.
Not be judged, I think the society that we're living in, for some places anyway, man, there's just a lot of judgment, and I think if you're just able to kind of just allow people just to be who they are, man, and just let them do what they want to do, I think that's a good ideal society where there's no competition, everyone is rooting for each other, building each other up rather than tearing each other down, there's no jealousy at all. I mean, that's probably an ideal society.
I think there's no sense of love. We all care for ourselves a lot more. And that's generally within your friendship groups. You could literally disagree with someone over something that is not even a big deal, and then you lose friends over it. I think that in itself is just not right. But yeah, so I think ideal society for me will be a place whereby oppression does not exist.
Communist. Next question. No, I'm joking. The ideal society where everyone cares for each other and looks after each other and looks out for each other's needs and tries to help out in any way that they can. In other words, the opposite of the society that we live in now. Look what's been going on the past few weeks in shops. No toilet paper, no hand gel, no pasta, nothing like that. It's all being taken up by all of the richer people and the more well-off people. I don't want to say rich, just people who are more well-off.
I think in an ideal society, like, everybody should have their basic needs. I know it seems like quite boring and everybody could say that, but I don't know, like food, water, warmth, and rest.
Yeah.
And then safety needs as well, which are security. So when you have that basic needs, then I think you need psychological needs like the need of love, and so relationship and friends and family.
Almost family-based, maybe? I know for some that isn't probably the best description. So, in some way, everyone is somehow connected to the other person, and they know this person. So, if they need a hand here, if they need this job done, they know someone who can help them out, sort of thing. But I also think that that sort of society can quite easily become quite a nosy society.
One that is not built on the exploitation of anyone, whether that's women, whether that's minorities, whether it's the poor in society. The idea that we live in a society where 95% of the world's wealth is owned by the 1% is problematic to me. And it's problematic because we agree that this is the status quo and no one wants to break it, yet there are people who are dying for basic healthcare, basic schooling, things that I think people like me take for granted, but it's not a right given to everyone in the world. Everyone in this society has the right to have an education, have good healthcare, be able to have a job that pays for their needs and their basic needs. And that is my perfect society.
You realize that this system itself is not the problem, It's the people, So I think having a society where people are kinder, I should say, more thoughtful, and aspire to truth.
I think one in which you're free to go after what you're good at. I think there's a lot of designers, and this is from personal experience, where they're not doing necessarily well in art and you don't know why. How can you, as a society, teach people how that strength translates into another field?
There's so much judgment that goes around. So a place where people don't judge each other, somewhere where people can just lift each other up. Just somewhere where everyone can talk to everyone without being discriminated against. Because the amount of people that like can teach you something that you probably would never know is unreal.
People living amongst each other like harmoniously, like everybody's just in harmony, everybody's just respectful to each other, whether they have differences.
The society will be, everyone looks after each person. Like, it's not left to one person just looking after. If everyone cared for each other, society would be much better than what our train now. We all hold hands and sing Kumbaya, but that's not really the case. The case really, that's more of a dream, I guess.
Have like a really positive energy. Everyone helping each other, everyone support each other. That kind of society that I think I would like to live at the moment.
I think an ideal society is varied because everyone's different. Everyone brings their own little thing to the melting pot. There can be a whole element of togetherness while still having people achieving individual goals, individual passions. Yeah. If you're respectful, a perfect society can be hatched a little bit more easily.
One where we don't feel judged by our race, color, gender. We're all happy. We don't have any diseases. We don't have any people thinking, oh, I'm too ashamed to do this, or what's someone gonna say if I do this? Just being yourself, basically. Everyone being free to be themselves, yeah.
A society there is, first of all, where there's no disease. That'd be great. The main things that will make an ideal society, like there'll be a place where the governments, when they do things, they don't just do it for the benefits of their own country, but they're doing it for the benefits of everybody in the world. It'll make it easier to trust people. Yes. If you knew that their interest, that they were doing things not just for their own sake, but for everybody else's sake, it would just make it easier to trust people.
It's where everyone kind of lives and let everyone live as they want without infringing on each other's personal freedoms and rights. And, don't do anything that you don't want other people to do to you. So guided by this kind of thinking, yeah.
Thank you so much for listening in. I hope you've enjoyed hearing everyone's messages. And if you do have any questions, the podcast has an Instagram at Messages from Earth. And to keep posted on the following episodes, feel free to subscribe. And until next time, take care, stay safe. Bye.